Hey, what's up YouTube? Pallab here. Today we're gonna talk about the LG G6 that will release on February 26 during Mobile World Congress in Barcelona this year.
I would like a big screen because I do a lot of multitasking.
So I definitely think that it should be a bigger screen.
Pero no más grande que el celular.
Portable and could fit into my pocket easily.
I don't want the phone to be able to slip out of my hand while I'm using it.
Nowadays, it's so hard to use a phone with just one hand.
I usually just use one hand while I'm walking to text.
Dropping your phone in the toilet is the worst nightmare.
Capture it all at once.
I don't want to keep paying for fixing a cracked screen or anything.
First of all, the display. Well, the bezel-less display, the home button-less display has been in fashion right now, and Samsung is probably not going to be the only device who releases their flagship without a home button. The LG G6 also is rumored to come with a homeless or the soft keyless button. It's called a bezel-less, although it's not totally bezel-less, very thin bezel, over 80% of screen to body ratio. But you won't see the physical home button or any of the other. You won't see the bottom and the top area as much as you do right now in the flagships. Having said that, because of that extra real estate, you'll get a bigger screen, 5.7 inch to be precise, in a relatively 5.5 inch form factor. But what it also will do is that it will increase the length, so the aspect ratio will increase from the usual 16:9 aspect ratio that you get on the phones these days to 18:9. Now that's not going to pose much threat, except for the fact that whenever you're watching any movies or so, because most of the movies right now are in 16:9 aspect ratio, you'll see a lot of black borders on the left or right, but that should not pose much difference to your viewing experience anyway. This 5.7 inch screen should have a 2K resolution and should be protected by the latest Gorilla Glass and should be an AMOLED screen. One of my least favorite thing about the LG G6, if it's true, is that it's not gonna support the brand new Snapdragon 835 chipset that the S8 will come with, but it will actually support last year's 821 chipset. We already have the 821 chipset in a lot of the phones like the Zenfone 3 Deluxe, the Google Pixel, even on the OnePlus 3T, which is supposed to cost, which probably will cost about half the price of the LG G6. Well, in terms of the RAM, probably it will support 6GB as well. And then the G5 was with 32GB ROM for the least model, or for the least storage model. This one probably will start at 64GB, but of course it will also support microSD card. The G4 was more of a polycarbonate back. The G5, they adopted metal all through, but G5 was ugly and hefty looking. In G6, they probably will bring in a glass back, a tempered glass back. Both side glass will make it more vulnerable than a full metal body, but still it can look very, very premium. You see the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, they look really premium. And tempered glass with a Gorilla Glass protection on the back could also protect your both glass surfaces relatively well. It will still have a metal ring on the side, and all the buttons and all will be metal as well. Now talking about the camera, well, it will have the probably most expected dual lens setup, but it will have more resolution than the G5, and probably the LED flash will be in between both the sensors, which actually from a design point of view and from symmetry point of view is the perfect place to keep that LED flash. Anyway, this dual lens setup should have a very wide aperture as well. I won't be surprised if it would have f by 1.7 or even f by 1.8 in one of those sensors. The front camera should still be one and not like dual lens setup like the Vivo V5 Plus. However, it might bump up to, let's say, 12 or 13 MP or even 16 MP. We don't know much about the front camera yet. Some of the other features will include an iris scanner. An iris scanner is not new. The Galaxy Note 7 was the first device to bring an iris scanner, but that went in the drain. So this would be again one of the first devices to carry that. Apart from that, you'll also have a USB-C type port and that much sought after 3.5mm jack. For many of us audiophiles which still rely on wired headphones, because we believe that Bluetooth, however efficient it is, cannot filter sound as good as a wired headphone. So for those, 3.5mm jack is there. One good thing is that it'll probably have Google Pixel's same identical Google Assistant on this LG G6, because LG probably did not want to make, or probably could not make, an assistant as competitive as Google Pixel, or maybe even to Samsung's new Bixby. Now we haven't seen Bixby, it will come with the S8, but a lot of people are really excited about that. So LG will adopt a safe option and will adopt that Pixel's Google Assistant. But then the Google Assistant was really good, and I actually found it better than Siri. Apart from that, this probably again will the first LG device to come integrated with LG Pay. Although, like any other pay options like Samsung Pay or Apple Pay or LG Pay in this case, probably it won't come to India. However, this LG Pay is something different from the other services in terms that in addition to the NFC, it will also adopt something called as MST, which is compatible with the older magnetic tape credit cards. So even if it comes to India, you can probably use it, but I don't think it will come to India as of yet. Yes, now finally talking about the pricing and availability. G5 was available a full, I think, 2 months or 1.5 months after it was announced during MWC. It was available between mid to late April, which was kind of too late for LG because all of the other phones were announced by then and people were ready to wait for those. In this case, LG is not taking any chance, and LG G6 probably will release in South Korea by March 9, that about a half a week after it was announced, so that people do not yet see the Samsung phones and some of the other phones, and if they really like the LG phone, they can actually go ahead and buy it. But to the US and other market, probably it will still be April. Now talking about the price, yeah, it's a flagship and we expect it to at least cost same as the G5, which started at about $650. $650 is not a small amount. What I think is that all the other spec sheets are fine, but is that purely in terms of specification, it should have sported a Snapdragon 835. It would have brought it right at the level of the present flagship, and that's what's going to be what 2007 flagships are. Although we do not know anything about VR or AR support inbuilt, it will have VR support, but then how integrated it is, how real experience it is, that we don't know. But we'll all know those on the 26th of Feb when LG will unveil the brand new LG G6. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.